All right, everybody, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. This is the first SLS in a really long time, and it's a really honor to be here. I'm so glad for you guys to join me. Some of you are registering still, and you guys will be trickling into the Zoom. That's okay. There is still time to join us in the Zoom if you would like to participate. You can ask questions live, but you can also ask the questions in the chat on YouTube. So it's just a really fun engagement to connect with. Let me just make sure that we are running properly. Yes, okay, excellent. Let me go ahead and open up the chat here so we can make sure that I can communicate with you guys and see your questions. Now, for those of you that are familiar with how we function, please remember to put your questions in capital letters, and I'll be very happy to answer your questions as we move along, okay? All right, so today's SLS, we're going to deep dive. We are in the middle of the beginning of a challenge, which is the focus on the cultivation of your life force. And we're going to be looking at different techniques and different practical applications of utilizing and working with your life force. From different angles. I'm going in another layer, deeper layer. We did a life force challenge, running life force, I think a couple years back. That was pretty successful. You guys really liked that. But in this one, we're going to go a little deeper, and it's about the implementation of the practice in order to run energy on a daily basis together. Okay, so today we're going to once again drop into that exercise, into that work. And whatever way that I can support you, just go ahead and let me know. I'll be happy to answer those questions. Okay. All right. So let's get started. I want to focus today's conversation primarily on the clearing of our energetic space. Now, the focus of this Self-Love Sundays is to learn how to cultivate self-love in a very deep way. Okay, how do we cultivate integration and love? And there's a couple techniques that I want to impart on you, given the universal energies at this time. One of the powerful things that are happening at this time is about the amount of energy that is coming in for transformation. And so it's important for you to pay attention to what are the patterns that you're running in order to catch them and neutralize them in a way where they don't are not causing continuous chaos in your life. Okay, so this is something that in order to clear that out, we have to break the karmic contracts that we're holding on to on a daily basis. So let's take a look at that. Yesterday we talked about the crown chakra. For those of you that want a deep dive into the crown chakra, you guys can check that out. And let's see here. Let me open this. I'm going to share my screen with you. And right here. Okay. All right, guys. So when we talk about working with the chakras, what are we talking about? Okay. Yesterday we talked about the crown, and the reason why we talked about the crown is because we want to understand, first of all, how are we manifesting from the core? And yesterday I went really deep into the explanation of that, of how the body is holding information inside the multidimensional body and how it informs the crown in order for it to project into reality. Okay, so a very important point that I want you to take away is that your crown is projecting. It is the projector of your reality. It is the prime filter of your perception. Okay, so how do we cultivate and open the channels to connect with source in the physical body if this is the case? We have to clear the body of any blockages. Okay, so let's take a look at what that looks like in the multidimensional form. Your creator state, your state of creation, the way that you're holding energy, information in your body, and the way that you're perceiving reality is going to define how you are creating. Okay, so today we're going to focus on a very powerful technique to eliminate the blockages from the multidimensional body. And I would love to invite you to observe how and from where are you creating recently? Okay, where is most of your creation coming from? Are you in a state of separation? Observe yourself over the past week, and we're going to do this in the meditation practice in a minute. Or are you in a state of unity? Now, if you are judgmental towards the things that are around you, in and around you, outside of you, you are in a state of separation. And the judgment is not just for yourself, but it's for the things that are external to you. And this is where things get complicated, because a lot of times we want to preserve, or we have the illusion that we are protecting ourselves by separating ourselves from the other, whatever we perceive as negative or something that is not in alignment with us. Okay, so in order to shift that perception, we have to integrate the separation that we have internal to us, the judgments that we have internal to us. And this is a deep work that requires us to sit gently with our dislikes, with the things that we reject, with the things that we strongly are judging about ourselves. Okay, so all of those strong resistance, strong emotions to separate from something. Usually the core of judgment, you will find emotions and feelings such as disgust, hate, jealousy, anger, rage, okay, fear. These main emotions are at the root of these judgmental programs. And a lot of our judgmental programs are inherited through generations. So there is a saying that says that the love you withhold is the pain that you carry lifetime to lifetime. Okay, so it's a very powerful statement when you understand that anytime that you see yourself as separate from something else, this is the love that you are withholding. You are not able to feel love. You are not able to, and again, love not being the romantic feeling, but a state of non-judgmental observation towards all things that are occurring outside of us. Most humans are in constant state of stress and anxiety. We are striving in a state of survival all the time. And that constant state of survival is dysregulating the nervous system in such a way that we are addicted to these constant states of protection, constant states of trying to separate ourselves from the things that we reject or that we judge as negative. And that constant energy that you hold in your body is a centrifugal way to hold your energy. Any time that you want to separate yourself from something external to you, the way that that looks like energetically in the body is actually separate. It creates a depletion. We externalize. Okay, so all of our energy is maintained in creating space, the space between yourself and things that we are not ready to feel fully, the things that we're not ready to acknowledge, to understand, and that space that we create is actually the space of the integration of ourselves. The way that we hold the frequency patterns within the body, the energy is depletion. Okay, and most of that function is affecting the first three chakras of the body. The first three chakras of the body being the root, the sacral, and the solar. All of your core programs of safety, security, your interrelationship exchanges and your emotional empowerment, your emotional stability. And these are deeply interconnected with the nervous system. So the disconnect between internally will cause a major resistance in the body. And so how does that look energetically in the body is that all of the energy is depleting, leaking out of the body. And the leaking of energy causes the chakras to contract. Okay, so you know that we have so many different cords and connections to people, places, and things. The cords are created by the reinforced programs and energetic and the quality of exchanges that we're having with people, you know, and events in our life. So anytime, and remember that to begin with, your connection with the other person is through resonance. So the event that you're experiencing is brought forth as a result of these belief systems already existing within you. And that resonance opens up the chakra, right? The chakra, in order to react to the triggers that are being, you know, created in these exchanges. They move, the chakras move in order to hold frequency that is a match, a vibrational match to the person that you're interacting with. So these chakras function like router systems, right? Taking on information and also giving off information. And so the way that we take on information depends on our boundaries. For a person that is completely unaware of themselves and disconnected from themselves, their boundaries will be very weak, very disconnected. And most of the time, they're going to spend a lot of their energy again in these ideas of protection, separation, trying to be resist feeling the emotions that brought you in the resonance of the relationship to begin with. Okay, so this is where we start to work here in the deeper field of the body, in the multidimensional body. Your chakra becomes contracted. The chakra is made up of spirals. They are vortex, micro vortex spirals that are moving energy in a toroidal manner around your field. And when these spirals contract, how does the spiral of your chakra contract? It contracts because very low density frequency is processed. It's the stagnation, the resistance and the stagnation of energy contracts the energetic field. Okay, so a lot of you will notice in the studies of energy, the electromagnetic fields of humans that are extremely ill as a result of fear and traumas, their electromagnetic field is deeply, deeply contracted. It's dark, it's dull, it's not radiant, it's not moving. As opposed to the electromagnetic field of someone that is in harmony, in peace, does not feel that they are, you know, in a state of survival of any kind, their magnetic field is expanded. And this is mirroring how you are flowing nutrients into the different parts of your body. Okay, so a contracted chakra is affecting the organs interconnected to those chakras, which affects the function of those organs. It affects the way the blood vessels are moving life force into those parts of the body, healing information. It affects how the immune system responds to illnesses. And it affects how the immune system responds to emotional threats. Now remember that this system of the chakra body interconnected with the organs is deeply sensitive. And the body doesn't know the difference between your imagination and an actual event occurring outside. Remember that, because this is a holographic system. So the human can actually take back the power into their healing ability by redirecting the depletion of that life force back into the reintegration of that life force by shifting the perception of the experiences one is having. So even though you are encountering a difficult experience, how you maintain your energy, how you maintain your frequency, how you sustain your nervous system, and how you learn to manage your chakra bodies, cleaning them, clearing them, expanding them, working with them constantly, because you are in charge of this. The chakras are very much a multidimensional organ, as much as your liver is, your stomach is, right? You're not going to eat something bad. You know what the repercussions are going to be. You know how that's going to affect your body, right? You're not going to, pollute yourself with poison. So that same understanding about your biophysical response to things that are toxic to you, we have to develop a maturity emotionally and spiritually, because actually your multidimensional body is way more sensitive, but also resilient than your physical body. The physical body takes some time, thankfully, because of the nature of this construct and how information takes time to translate into the manifestation of the physical. And that process is speeding up as we move into higher octaves collectively. But as we get to those instantaneous manifestations, right, so we don't really want to get there until we've really learned how to manifest in a way that is coherent and a way that is harmonious, not only with ourselves, but with our environment. And something that is really happening at this time is that the manifestations are speeding up. The things that you have longed for in the subconscious mind, the things that you've most feared, the things that you've had these lazy inputs and deposits of your energy time into these negative belief systems, those are the ones that are coming up now for you to experience. So what you want to do is you want to interrupt the patterns that have been feeding into parasitic thought forms over your last few years, and to focus on bringing them up so that you can address them and begin to equip yourself with the awareness of how to embody a different energetic structure, so that you are not repeating the same suffering patterns of contraction that have been memorized in your body ancestrally. Because everything that you're playing out right now is memorized for generations in your body. Excuse me. So let's take a look at this chakra here. The contraction of these coils within the chakra create holes, essentially. We call them holes, we call them tears in the field. Okay, so, this is a whole chakra. One chakra is this spherical toroidal system that emanates from its core. And the core of that chakra is in the organs, okay? So let's take a look at this. How are we creating tears in the body? The tears, Ageless, thank you so much for that super chat. I really appreciate it. All my love to you. Thank you. Your super chats really help me, guys. Thank you for your donations. I appreciate that support. So the contraction of the chakra field, as I mentioned here, creates the tear and the hole inside of the field. Okay, so if you were to connect with your chakra body and begin to tune into the subtle emotional programs that are stored within the contracted parts of your chakra, you will uproot a lot of strong emotion, a lot of suppressed programs, thoughts. These are at the core root of these holes and tears in your field. Most of us, we have learned to do a lot of energetic hygiene to help repair those holes. But the real work is to understand the real core emotion and program that feeds into the tearing of that hole. And these tears and these holes and these blockages in the fields are developed over a very, very long time. Okay, so for example, in the field, this person has a tremendous trauma with mother. Okay, trauma with mother. So the blockage is going to develop on the side of the body that is most holding the memory of the trauma from which it was contracted at the time of that traumatic original moment. What do I mean? Age 5, the mother is in deep sorrow because of an event that's happening around and neglects the child. The child is really needing some attention, some support, even changing clothes or maybe a warm blanket. And the mother is too involved in the pain and suffering that doesn't pay attention to the little child. So in that moment, the child creates a severe response emotionally, resisting this experience, unsure that they have to depend on this other human to take care of them. And that traumatic experience creates a split. Okay. And so the program that is created here, because it was a mother figure, the divine feminine, is that they are not able to provide or to receive nurturing from the divine feminine. That is the core subconscious belief system. Now, this event that happened here is actually a product of many other events that have happened in other generations. Okay, and now let me explain that, because remember, your soul incarnated into this family for a reason. You are equipped to transcend the limiting programs of this family lineage. Okay, so chances are that the neglect of the divine feminine is a pattern that has been repeated a very, very long time in the generations. In addition to you yourself having repeated the neglect of your divine feminine as a soul in multiple dimensions in other timelines as well. The invitation of this lifetime is for you to finally heal the separation and the wounding of the divine feminine in your body, through your life, through your experiences, and through the reharmonizing of the divine feminine in your existence. So these little tiny events are not unimportant. They're extremely vital to you understanding your healing. So what happens is that the seed of this tear or break in the multidimensional body develops over time as we reinforce the feminine wounding for this individual over and over again. It reinforces through the childhood as they develop into a teen, and what happens in puberty, the entire system begins to override because now the sexual energy is awoken in the human. And sexual energy being the most powerful creative life force, coming from the filter of the wounded feminine, is affecting completely the way that the human manages creation, the way that they feel about creating, the way that they feel about bringing into manifestation anything, their career, their education, their relationships, their self-worth, their completion of themselves, understanding. Okay, so these deep programs manifest within the field and create forms. Okay, this kind of blockages. Okay, and so our job in the healing work that you and I are doing today for Self-Love Sunday and for the series of Life Force is to learn how to release these blockages from the root, which is what we do in DNA reprogramming. Okay, we get to the emotions that are stagnant within that form, that stagnation of life force, and you dissolve that. How do we do that? There are a couple ways to do it, and we're going to review them together. One way to do is to work energetically with your body, moving the dense energies out. And these, which we call them pictures or images, they are memories. And it's not just one memory. Usually one memory is linked to many memories because, again, remember, we spent a lifetime of reinforcing it. For it to have manifested into a blockage in your body, you will notice that the part of your body that has tears or holes, or the part of your body that you have a hard time visualizing, it's usually always the same part of your body. That's because you haven't healed those core programs. That's a great indication for you to understand where your work lies. Okay, so in this example of this character that we're creating here for the example, the wound, the divine feminine wound that is in the field, has now developed into a full blockage. So this individual has a hard time finding job, has a hard time getting money, has a hard time having stability, problems in the relationship, and constant disconnect with the higher self because they don't trust themselves, right? So the direct effect of the wounded feminine is a disconnect of the intuition, direct effect. Okay, for men and women, doesn't matter your sex. This is talking about life force and the dualistic nature of life force, which we all are holding. So in this situation, we want to identify the block. And the first way to see that is by looking at your field, at where you're holding tears and holes. And usually, because this is a daily practice, where you keep seeing the tears and the holes is where you have cords. Because the way that these energetic parasitic systems function is that first they manifest as thought forms, which then and those thought forms are a mirror of the neural pathways that you hold. They are also a mirror of the way that you're holding nervous system holding patterns in your body, and the way that you contract muscle systems, which is a direct result of your nervous system. Okay, so we want to identify these programs because your field is a mirror of how you're storing data in the body. So if a certain part of your body is feeling pain or contraction, more likely than not, in the areas that you have holes, you also have physical problems. Okay, so you want to identify where those problems are. You know yourself, you know what you have problems with. And as you know, each one of the chakras, because I am only giving you the example of one chakra here, holds many layers of information. Okay, these blockages are not only in one layer of the chakra, they are in many layers because they affect different perspectives of reinforced programs over time. So what do we got to do with this image is first repairing the field on a daily basis. So first practice is to become aware of where your holes and tears are. The holes and the tears in the body represent all the unconscious disconnect from your body. They represent the subconscious programs that are running in the back end that you are not addressing and that you're not accessing. So we must bring light to them. And most people, when they tune into these holes and tears, they're like, okay, we repair them. But when it really comes to feeling the emotion, most people want to run away. They don't really want to feel the difficult emotions. But now is the time where if you don't feel that little temporary 15 minutes of discomfort, you will deal with months of disruption and chaos. Okay, so that's how it's manifesting energetically collectively right now. And we see that for the world. And the outcome of that is going to be a refined conduit organism. That's what we want. We open up the blockages so that we can become a conduit that flows life force through the body fluidly in harmony, internally and externally. Okay, so the second part of clearing these blockages is to identify the cords that you have. Okay, because in those holes and tears, you have cords. Some of you have stagnant energy, and again, multi-layered, multi-dimensional in different chakras and also in the physical body. So the cords, you want to connect with those cords and identify what is the emotion that you are sharing and who's on the other side of those cords. Now, we are deeply interconnected to everything. So at first, it is not really necessary to identify who exactly is on the other side of that cord, although many of you will already tune into that information. But I don't want you to spend all your attention on focusing on who's on the other side of that, because first you have to know yourself first, and then you can work with the external world. Okay, so as you identify the cord, for you, the work is to understand the emotion that is being shared and exchanged there. So connect with the cord, notice the density of the cord, A lot of times we have cords in the lower parts of our bodies. And I mean, in all the body, but most people are storing cords in the lower parts of the body. So just notice how it feels. If it's a stagnant, heavy, painful, slow, suffering kind of energy that you have there in the body, pay attention to that. And that will help you alchemize. We have to transmute. In all of the healing work that we're teaching here, it's about transmutation, which means taking one emotional state and alchemizing into a higher octave. Okay? And so we teach ourselves to embody a higher frequency from that lower state. And we do that through the emotional body and awareness. So to remove these blockages out of the body, we can do a couple things. The crown is the tool that helps us do that. Why? Because the crown is the manifestation mechanism of your organism. It is from which pure intention is manifested into the physical. So the crown, because you have learned to align it with your highest expression, and you've aligned your highest expression with all facets of your life in a harmonious balance, this blockage has no vibrational resonance to this vibrational frequency anymore. So we have to remove the debris from the multidimensional body. And what I would love for you to do is to shine that crown light on top of these cords, on top of these blockages, dissolving them. Now, the human body is a very beautiful, intelligent toroidal system that has two exit channels in the body, going from the crown of the head, leaving the body, and going down to the center of the earth. Once you understand how to use your body in order to heal, it will be very easy to clear any kind of blockage, any illness from the body. Remember that the way that energy moves through the chakra system is like a braiding of life force, which each one of those braidings is a toroidal field around your body. So when we have any level of blockages within the body, it stagnates the energy. It cannot move there. Okay, so we have to open up these blocked energy channels. How do we move that through the body? Again, it's the development of the Merkabite field. The Merkabite field, when a human has a blockage and their energy is depleted externally, okay, the external depletion of energy. What does it mean to externalize your life force? It means that you are looking outside of yourself to be complete, outside of yourself to be fulfilled, outside of yourself to meet those needs that were not met throughout your life, and that are ancestral belief systems that you have also inherited. This is the change. The healing is from the inside out. In order to become whole, in order to embody source, in order to become a conduit of light, you have to change from the external movement to the internal movement and heal from the inside out. And so essentially, the shifting of this energy from the external to the internal begins to change the way you're holding energy into a centripetal way. Okay, so when you raise your vibrational frequency, and when I mean raise the vibrational frequency, I'm not just talking about being in a constant state of smiles, joy, happiness. No, I'm talking about neutral observation in authentic harmony. Authentic harmony. You have to be in a complete authentic state with yourself. All of your truths, all of your raw truths of yourself, the parts of yourself that you judge, that you don't like, that you resist, the truths of your life, the traumas, being able to witness and observe them in a way where you can transcend the trauma that was taken on from there, the judgment. And that will release you from embodying and storing the trauma in the body, which blocks the movement. Most of our trauma, when we begin to review and reflect and integrate from that trauma is actually programs that we have embodied that are not even ours, number one. And also the belief systems that we've taken on are not even 100% true. They are small 1% truths through our perception, but our perception is very limited. Okay, so that has to be an awareness that is a part of spiritual maturity that we begin to take on. Okay, so let's take a look at that. What I want to do is I want to work with moving this body, and because the toroidal nature of the physical body, the depletion of energy from an unconscious state drains your life force. So the exit way to clean the body is either out to the crown of the head or down to the center of the earth. Okay, so the earth energy, okay, is functioning like a recycling mechanism, because the earth is an incredible regenerative conduit of life force, as you see in nature. Okay, everything lives and dies, and it's all part of this harmonious system of coexistence. We humans have to learn how to embody that same fluid movement of creation. But when you identify a blockage in your body and you begin to dissolve it, utilizing your crown, because the crown, again, it's the center of intentional co-creation from the highest perspective. And that's what we want to do. We are creating and we are deciding to experience this world, not from karmic unconscious repetition patterns, but from a state of actual creation, sovereign creation, not as a product of our ancestral beliefs and survival programs, but pure creation. And that requires maturity, responsibility, a deep understanding of the cause and effect of your actions and your intentions, which means absolute raw truth of yourself and existing in authenticity. So this cultivation of existing in this state, when you shine this on top of a blockage, you begin to dissolve it because the frequency is no longer a resonance. And because of the toroidal nature of your body, this blockage that's here can move down the center channel of your grounding cord, or it can move up through the crown of your head and out into the cosmos, always directed towards source. The way that these dense blockages begin to dissolve is through love. So what you're doing is that you're utilizing the mechanistic process of this toroidal field in the transmutational process of transmuting an anger, a hate, whatever program is stuck in that blockage, and transmuting it into unconditional love. That's what you're doing. And that has to be an intention, a pure intention. Now, pure intention, it doesn't come from imbalanced emotions. Okay, so we'll have a talk about what emotions are. There are different ways of holding emotional frequency. Emotions are complex when you are not harmonized. They have many layers, which means that in the beginning, in the front of it, you might have an emotion of love and joy, but you don't understand love and joy yet. So the way that you hold love and joy as a frequency is not going to be its most potent open frequency. You will be limited by your own understanding of love. So if your understanding of love and the way that you process love is coming from a pain body or a victim mentality or archetypal mentality, you will limit the way that you process love, right? So, and we know this because life is part of the experience of life is learning that, right? So in love, for example, we have many life experiences with our parents, family, friends, with husbands, wife, in order to learn what love really is, you know, and with ourselves. And so So the way that we are using this intention is from a neutral state, non-judgmental neutral state. That non-judgmental neutral state that is cultivated over time, we begin to transmute these heavy blockages into light, which is unconditional love. Okay, so your body is a conduit for this reason. You are a conduit of energy. If you don't understand how the body functions, you won't understand how to bring it into health and vitality. The idea is that we remove these blockages from the body, and these pictures are dissolved. When you dissolve these pictures, now another thing about these pictures and these blockages that are in your field take sometimes time to remove them. And it's because sometimes the ego or the parts of us, the subconscious little inner children of us, are not ready to let go. Now, one element about blockages that I want you to understand, we hold on to suffering programs because we believe that we will be protected by these programs in some way. So the question that I want you to ask the inner child, or the question that I want you to ask this wounded ego, is who are you protecting? Who is being protected by this program? It's a very powerful question, because what you're going to find is that underneath the layers of that scary looking ego that is full of rage and anger is a little child that was not nourished, that was not given a blanket to feel warm by the mother. Okay, so it is important. And we have to nourish and help that child understand that they are the source of the needs. And we have to integrate this understanding into our existence. What happens when the human does this work? Now the human goes out and they begin to have another experience where it can be triggered, this pain body again, and they do not feel the same pain. They do not feel the same rage. They do not feel the same anger, because they have understood that they are the ones that will meet those needs. This is the reverting of this depletion centrifugal state of existing into a centripetal state of holding the energy in the body, multidimensionally. The field repairs, the blockages remove, more energy is moving, more creative power is available to this human. Because the more blockages we have in the body, the more tears you have in your field, the less creative power you hold. The more illness you have, the longer your flus are going to last, the longer your suffering will manifest into your body repeatedly, into your life. So the hygiene that we're talking about is really the transformation of your life into your most rawest truth. And this is actually where we begin to understand healing. And the new human is the manifestation of this open source conduit energy. Okay, so let's talk about the transmutation of emotions, the transmutation process. Okay, what does it mean to transmute an emotion? The transmutation of an emotion refers to the concept that you are moving one vibrational state into another. You are transforming one vibrational state into another. And how does one do that? It's the transduction process of energy, because that's what we are. We're energetic beings in an energetic bioelectrical universe. You are a bioelectrical organism. So emotions are an energetic charge. They are a bioelectrical charge. We want to learn how to change one charge into another. Emotions that are low emotions are going to be slow moving waves. And any time that we are in a state of unconsciousness in the body, we are operating at these slow moving waves. Anytime that we are in hypnosis or disconnected from the body, we cannot process higher bands of frequency. Now, in the universe, your body is processing many, many frequencies. Whether you are aware of it or not, your body is processing many kinds of frequencies multidimensionally. And the whole purpose of processing this, and remember that whether you're aware of it or not, you are around many, you are moving in and out of dimensions all the time. And the reason why this is important is because a lot of you are, opening your third eye, and you're starting to have interdimensional sightings, interactions. You can interact with dead spirits, passed over spirits. You can interact with beings and light beings in the skies. These interdimensional beings in your dream state. All of that is important because it speaks to the level of your development of your intuition and the way that you're cultivating your interdimensional navigation. Okay, so it's important to understand this work because it's a reflection and it's an extension of your current energetic state. So we want to refine our relationship with all of these things by becoming aware of our creation. What are we creating? What are we magnifying into the field? Are we putting out positive, healing, co-creative belief systems, or are we seeding parasitic thought forms that are, again, contracting life force? So let's take a look at the transmutation process of these emotions as frequency. Okay. When we hold in the body an emotion such as anger, rage, fear, sorrow, any number of those lower emotions, slow moving emotions, what happens is that because it's the emotion that you're feeling throughout your whole body, it's usually processed through more than one of your chakra systems. Okay, so a good example of that is when someone goes through a heartbreak situation. You'll notice that humans that go through heartbreak situation begin to have chest issues. Sometimes they develop flus. And heartbreak, not just in relationships, but just heartbreak and deep disappointments, deep sorrows with events and experiences external to them. What happens is that their root chakra begins to disconnect because it's a lack of safety and security. The sacral will respond to the level of betrayals or emotions that they felt with this scenario or other person. The solar plexus will begin to embody the feeling of helplessness that the human is experiencing in that moment. So all of these chakras are processing the sorrow, organizing the emotion in the body as it already knows, as it's familiar with processing the information. The way that you process sorrow is a program. And the way that you create that program is based on all of your learning through childhood and development, and also the influence of your ancestors. Okay, so to heal and to transmute these emotions, we want to address the program underneath the sorrow. And the question is, what would be the opposite of that sorrow? And what would that look like? What would it take for me to believe and understand and know about myself in order to embody the opposite belief system of sorrow in this case? And you will go into programs of helplessness, programs of expectation, programs of self-worth. You need to visit these identities that have been created from those belief systems. And what happens when you do that, each one of those emotions is linked with different chakras. So you begin to parse out from the chakra system these holding patterns, these energetic holding patterns. As you identify in your body how you're holding these emotions, and you bring them, by bringing them up to the surface and feeling them fully, you will uncover all the subconscious programs. And what happens with the body is that it starts to clean up the information from the chakra. Okay, the chakra, remember the contracted state of that chakra begins to clear out. Okay, all of these blockages here, you begin to clear that out. And essentially it begins to create this incredible opening, this space, to reinforce this into a complete chakra. Once again, the human will reinforce the new program, which is the opposite of sorrow. So for example, the opposite of sorrow in this case is a deep trust, a deep self-trust, a deep love and security, a sense of deep acceptance. Okay, because emotions as such as sorrow are rooted in resistance. So the opposite of that would be deep acceptance. So the human begins to feel a deep acceptance, and it begins to regenerate and restore, because acceptance has a different vibrational frequency than sorrow. Let me see if I can find that chart here. One moment, guys. I might have that in another presentation. Well, anyway, you can see it here, right? So the frequency and the way that it's moving essentially, let's see if I can make this bigger for you. Okay, so the way that you are holding the alchemical transmutation would be to move from this slow moving wave into a higher moving frequency. Okay, so the acceptance is immediately an escalation in frequency, a higher frequency. So what happens is that you begin to shift your perception of the experience, and many parts of your body begin to adjust energetically, biophysically, bioelectrically. The chakra begins to repair, because this faster moving frequency is more substantial energetically than this one. This is more dense, heavier, slow moving, stagnation. But you are a light being, and you are a conduit of bioelectricity. So if the energy is moving in a counter-creative manner in the body, the entire toroidal field slows down. This is how people develop depression with feeling sorrow over time. They develop deep depression. And when you look at their multidimensional body, it's barely moving. I mean, they barely can get up out of bed, because they're holding such dense energies in their body that are moving at such sluggish, dense matter that stagnate the chakras. How do you get someone to get out of bed from depression? You clean the energetic body. You can do it through Tai Chi or Qigong, which is a moving of energy, which is, moving life force. The whole point of Qigong is to move life force through the body and to open up the blockages. And in DNA reprogramming, addressing these blockages and removing them either out through the crown of the head or out through the grounding cord. Now, the deep alchemization process in DNA reprogramming is to transmute the emotional pattern into a higher octave emotion, which is what you're doing here. And this nourishing high vibration frequency that you feel in the body moves fast. You are meant to vibrate fast. You are not a slow moving entity. Because the slower that you move your toroidal field, the more sluggish, the more you stagnate your energy, it leads to death. And it's a slow death. Some people may be teetering between life and death for, 50 years. What a terrible life without a real understanding. And it's not terrible. It's an absolute choice. Okay? It's an absolute choice. You have 100% free will to choose your experience. And if you choose to experience a life of suffering, that's okay too. But mechanistically, biologically, bioelectrically, there are ways to understand how to use this energetic body in order to experience vitality, in order to experience health, in order to experience longevity, in order to experience harmony in all areas of your life, as we're doing with our crown, setting our highest intention in all areas of our life. Okay, so let's take a look at this. I'm gonna stop there for a moment and I'm gonna pause and take some questions. And then we're gonna go into our meditation. So let me close this chat. Great to see you guys. See some beautiful familiar faces. Okay, so let me go into the chat really quickly because I want to be able to answer your questions. Please go ahead and put your questions in capital letters and I'll be really happy to answer them. And again, thank you so much for your super chats, guys. You guys are amazing. Let's go over here. Ageless says, so I have a lot of stuck energy in the hips and the center of the lower back. Some days I am pain-free and others I have tolerable pain in set areas. Sometimes I go from no pain to instant discomfort. Why? Right. So super, super important. And what I would invite you to do, and this is going to be an uncomfortable exercise, but I want you to sit with that pain next time you feel it. And I want you to notice a couple things. Number one, what were you doing the moment that the pain was triggered? What were you thinking? And what emotion were you holding in your body? It can be the slightest flash of a thought. This is how powerful we are as creators. We have such little awareness. We don't even understand our bodies and our minds. But it can be a tiny flash of a thought of unworthiness triggered by, you know, a show you watched, a song you heard, a piece of paper with the color orange that reminded you of a file that was during an uncomfortable time in your life. Okay, that little tiny momentary flash is a memorized response in the body of survival. Okay, because if you look back at that emotion that was just triggered in that moment, it could be a tiny little flashback to feeling unsafe. Okay, and from there, the body responds. This is something that is, I'm not talking just because it's something that you can read in a book. This is something that I am experiencing with myself in my life and also with other clients that I'm working with. We're understanding this very deeply, right? So our subconscious mind is responding to the events that are happening outside of us. And the physical body will have a response. And especially if you have pain in your body, it's a really great opportunity to begin to identify what are the triggers of that pain. So number two, after you identify that, you're gonna sustain the memory, that flashback that was triggered in that moment. And you're going to notice what emotions come up. So you're going to take yourself to that uncomfortable flashback. So in that uncomfortable flashback, let's say it's the memory of a time of feeling unsafe. You're going to bring that feeling of unsafety in your body. Guess what's going to flare up? The pain will flare up sometimes, or it will intensify. And within the intense feeling of the pain is the key to your healing, because in that pain is emotions that are stored, stagnant and blocked in that part of your body. I have healed my body over and over and over again from pains and aches, everything from sciatica pain to a flu to, you know, severe illnesses, through this kind of emotional healing work. This is how powerful the mind is. And so, you know, there are many other people that discuss this as well. Okay, when you release the emotions that are in that pain, your pain will go away. And so, you know, and it will lessen. So also notice that the pain that you're holding in the hips, now this has a lot to do with resentment and it has a lot to do with the feminine. Okay, it has a lot to do with blockages around the divine feminine. So I want you to look at relationships with mother. I want you to take a look at relationships towards the resentment of the divine feminine. For women, we store a lot of that in the hips. And the hips is also where blood is being produced for the body. So we want to begin to understand that that's actually one of the most important life runways of life force. These meridian lines that go through the hip affect a lot of our body. So clear that out. Go into that pain and sit with it and see what emotion comes up. And as you alchemize that, the pain will go away. Okay, so illness is an invitation for us to pay attention to the body. It means we've been ignoring something. It means we're suppressing something or we don't want to address something. So take your time to take a look at that. Thank you so much, Ageless. I hope that helps. Okay. Let's see here. Can the field affect the environment? Yes, absolutely. So remember that you are a co-creative system, system of creation, right? So, and everything that you are perceiving in your environment, you are projecting into your reality. Okay, so if you are holding, and it's just like when you enter into a room and there's a person that's super angry or depressed, you pick that up and the entire environment changes with that energy. When that person leaves, it feels lighter in the room, right? So please understand your emotional states are affecting all of creation, all of your experiences, because you're a creator. And they also affect the people that you're attracting, the events that you're attracting. There is no random thing. This world is a self-organizing system where energy is organized through experiences, through human life. Okay, so the more we understand that and we take responsibility for our creation, the less we're going to be blindsided by traumatic events and shocking changes in our life. Change is a natural right now. It's a natural part of your existence. So to be able to flow with constant change and movement and, is important, but that requires awareness in the present moment. Okay, so the contraction of your field is felt. This is why techniques like body of glass, which I teach on this channel, which is a protective technique where you imagine yourself as invisible. And I train this in my GPAC courses. When you throw your energy at someone that has body of glass, the person throwing the energy, it feels like they can just fall forward or fall right through. When the human expands their field and the person throws the energy at an expanded field, it feels like there's resistance, like there's a block, like there's something there that doesn't allow us to move forward. And these are very basic martial arts techniques that have been practiced for centuries based on the understanding of your morphogenetic field and your body. Okay, so the energetic field and the cultivation of your energy is felt, and it directly affects your environment. It affects the circumstances or the events that are going to be occurring in your environment and the kind of people that you are in resonance that are brought into that environment. So this is why we say if you want to heal the world, you have to heal yourself first. It's an inside job. Because you project, and this is how you also shift timelines, because your timeline for someone that is in a constant state of depression and anger is not going to be the same as a timeline for someone that is in harmony, existing in harmony. You cannot. It will be a different timeline for them. Okay, and so if many of us are sustaining harmony in our lives, we are moving the collective energies because we are interconnected. We are one organism, and the earth is an extension of that. It is a holographic playing field for these experiences to take place. Okay, so that's answering that question. Let's see here. How to deal with intrusive thoughts. Okay, so you see, Intrusive thoughts, essentially, it's unconscious repetitive cycles. Okay, so to answer the question directly, be in the present moment and bring yourself from thinking and imagining and daydreaming, because all the intrusive thoughts are a product of past influence or future fears, future projecting and past. Those intrusive thoughts do not exist. You are making it up, you are imagining it, but not in a constructive or intentional manner. And that's when you know that these thoughts are counter creative. They're not rooted in truth. They don't exist in this moment. And you also have no clear intention of why they exist in your mind. So this is a way of counter creativity. So bring yourself absolutely in the present moment. Interrupt the intrusive thought and just bring yourself in the present moment. Simple. That will require you to surrender, and it will require some level of vulnerability where you come into the present moment, into a state of observation with yourself. And for beginners, this is uncomfortable because now you have to sit with yourself and the things that come up for you. But you're going to cultivate your mind back into the focus only being your breath. Okay, inhale, exhale, especially from the belly. And from the belly is a powerful place, because when we have a lot of intrusive thoughts, our solar plexus is out of balance. There's no empowerment in the body of, and empowerment is not power over someone else or control. It's presence. That's actually what empowerment is. It's for you to cultivate a really grounded presence. So as you come back into your body, breathe deeply into the abdomen, which will massage the nervous system from the spine. This entire spinal cord is being massaged in a way with the oxygen coming in and out of the body, regulating the nervous system. You begin to reset the brain from past and future thinking into the present. And what we need to do is observe our surroundings and just be aware of where you are. And most of the times we are not in danger in the present moment. So we need to hold on to that truth and live in truth. What is here right now? I'm good, I'm safe. And so you're going to keep bringing yourself back to that, and you're going to train that awareness every moment of your day. And this is how you will cultivate the training of that. Okay, be in the present moment, basically. Do I have a raised hand in the Zoom? If you're in the Zoom and you have a raised hand, please go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question. Okay. All right, so let's keep going here. How to deal with that one? I will absolutely take some paper. It just says, I will absolutely do that. It takes being aware enough to pick up on the subtle emotions and being still enough. I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you. I love you too, Ageless. I really hope that it helps with this. Please report back and let us know how that goes, okay? Alchemist says, what is the root of sciatica pain, especially on the left side? Yeah, so very similar to what I was explaining earlier, but sciatica is a very interesting belief system, okay? And it has to do with feeling completely unsupported. It has to do primarily on the left side with the feminine, feeling that we are wounded and betrayed by the divine feminine and not having support. So what does that translate into? The betrayal of our intuition and the lack of trust in ourself, in our higher self, in our own intuition and our own internal guidance. So to alchemize this pain, you have to revert your attention from looking to external sources of divine feminine nurturing and support into internal systems of nurturing and support. Okay, so we have to reconnect with the higher self, Yesterday's class will be really, really supportive for you. You know, reconnect that divine intuition. Andrea says, can you please clarify the concept of having free will in creating our experiences versus ancestral programs, contractual agreements, or diseases that we are meant to experience and cannot change? Yeah, Andrea, actually tomorrow's video is going to be all about that. Okay, but I will briefly talk about that. So I'm going to give you a synopsis. Okay, so please understand there's more to this than what I'm going to share with you right now. But in essence, we only really have free will when we are completely existing in our truth, in our raw truth, in our raw authenticity. Okay, because only when you understand your shadows and your light can you even perceive reality. If you are hiding from your shadows, if you're hiding from your lights, your perception will always be skewed, always. It will never be in alignment with the higher truth. Okay, that's why it's important for us to do continuous shadow work all the time to integrate those shadows. Okay, and again, I want to mention, you know, I locked myself in a room for 4 months, and I did that. Not everyone has the luxury of being able to lock themselves in a room for 4 months in meditation and healing, but you can do that. If I can do that in 4 months, you can do that in a year, in 2 years. You can transform your entire perceptions. It requires self-love and attention to begin to uncover those layers of yourself that you resist and you hate. And this is an ongoing process of cultivation of self-love. So until you rebalance that perception back into harmony and integration with yourself, that means that you are congruent. You are congruent. Your thoughts, your emotions, your actions are congruent. Only then, and that is a product that is cultivated by the 0 point, because the result of doing shadow work is the 0 point. The state, the cultivated state of non-judgmental observation is what allows you to sustain harmony in your body and has the integration, that alchemical marriage of divine feminine and masculine. Okay, so it's only in that point that you have free will, because you're not repeating all the repetitive. What is trauma? Those are cycles. Trauma, unconscious behavior, reactionary behavior are all cycles. And they're all unconscious cycles because we are repeating. The invitation of the human is to create. You are a creator. If you are not creating every moment of your life, you are not having free will. You are only repeating what you've been taught, and you're repeating what's been instilled to us through social engineering, societal structures, cultures, religion, all of those things. We're barely repeating. How can you have free will? You have no free will. You are a product of deeply integrated systems of learning that we have inherited and embedded biochemically. We've memorized it. Bioelectrically, we've hindered the expression of the soul. And as conduits, because to be a creator means you are a conduit, which means that life force moves through your body fluidly. Okay, that is the 0 point creation. So anytime in vivo that we are creating contractual agreements with our incongruent thoughts, emotions, and actions, again, we are congruent with our higher self, and we are aware of our agreement with source, as I talked about in yesterday's channel about our crown. What is your agreement? What are you here to do? What is your purpose? Do you understand? You will understand that by doing the shadow work, number 1. Number 2, you will become clear of your purpose here as a human. That is when you have free will, because you become a creator. Okay? So, in addition to that, some people inherited diseases as part of these ancestral, right? So we know that from survivals of wars, right? Severe emotional traumas, severe manifesting into cancers, manifesting into AIDS, manifesting into severe illnesses that are uncurable in our, physical system. Because that contractual agreement is for the human to experience this temporary life through the filter of this illness. Because many generations and many lifetimes, we've abused our creative power to the point that it's now manifested in a paralysis of that faculty of our body. And every new generation that comes in, it's a product of these ancestral choices, right? Suffering and pain is sent down through the generations. So in order to heal the body either completely or lessen the effects of these diseases and these illnesses that we have running, we have to come to that 0 point and be a creator rather than a repeater of programs. Okay, so that takes a lot of awareness, takes a lot of stillness and meditation, but it can be done. Okay, so I hope that kind of answers, but tomorrow I'm going to go even deeper. Love you so much, Andrea. Thank you. Geraldine, you offer hypnosis service to help heal or to also teach self-hypnosis? Yeah, so my hypnosis are one-on-one sessions with clients, and you can absolutely register for hypnotherapy. In the hypnotherapy, the person that I'm there to serve you, so you're going into hypnosis to answer these profound questions. But to learn self-hypnosis, I mean, once you experience it, you can recreate that anytime by re-listening to the hypnotherapy recording. Okay, so I also do this. Sometimes I'll listen to my old hypnotherapy sessions, not so much anymore, but I used to. That allowed me to remember again that current state of consciousness because it's a vibrational frequency. So that is extremely helpful in rehypnotizing you into the valuable lessons that were reached through the hypnotherapy. In DNA reprogramming, we use hypnosis techniques, but you're quite conscious, and it's almost just like a deep meditative state where you're doing deep shadow work with me. So it's actually very powerful, DNA reprogramming, in healing some of those programs and integrating them. But you can implement some of those self-hypnosis techniques for your continued work. Okay. Let's see, Geraldine, you offer. Oh, I answered that one already. John, yes, you can do whatever you need to do, John, to eliminate whatever you need to do. Sometimes people eliminate things out of the body as healing. Okay. One of the signs of release can be burping. One of the signs of release can be yawning. Some of the signs of release can be crying. Okay, so allow yourself and respect your body and listen to what it needs, because we release, this is energy. Okay, so we release out of the body whatever is needed energetically in however way it is. Andrea, thank you so much for that super chat. I love you. That's so wonderful of you. Christina says, my feet hurt, my heels, afraid of moving forward. Yeah, take a look at that, Christina. Every single part of the body is telling us, where we are storing energy in a way that is not beneficial to our movement. Okay, so anytime we feel paralyzed, anytime we're afraid of moving forward, we have profound self-doubt, we can store that kind of stagnant energy in the body. And this is the masculine. Okay, so when the masculine is wounded, it's about action, it's about the implementation, it's about the deep integration of that. So take a look at your relationship with the divine masculine. Do you trust yourself enough to take actions as needed? Okay. All right, guys, let's get into the meditation. Go ahead and get yourself nice and grounded. Breathing deeply. With every breath you take, as you allow yourself to come into a state of absolute relaxation, we want you to sit nice and tall and straight with the back, your spine straight, your crown connecting to source. Go ahead and allow yourself to ground down to the center of the earth. Breathing deeply. Now, as you come into a state of complete relaxation and calm, bring yourself into absolute stillness. As still as you can. You're going to plant your feet down on the ground, beginning to open the channels of your foot. Okay, the chakras underneath your foot. I'm just going to visualize grounding into the center of the earth. Go ahead and visualize the sphere of your field all around you. And we're going to begin to observe the health of our sphere. Is it completely whole? Are there holes and tears around it? Take a look. Carefully observing where we have tears, openings, shadowy parts. Sometimes it feels warmer or cooler in certain parts of your body. Remember that you have 5 senses and everyone is different. The way that you translate the information in your body is going to be different. So just pay attention. Breathing. We're going to focus on abdominal breathing to help regulate the nervous system, bringing yourself fully into the present moment. Go ahead and ground yourself down to the center of the earth. Imagine a bodysuit connecting your body down to the center core. Make your grounding cord nice and wide as you feel yourself as one with the earth. And if you stay very still, almost as if you're tuning in to the way that the earth is vibrating, the earth is rotating. And you can feel that with your body. You can take a moment to indulge in that stillness. It's a very healing frequency. All the parts of your body come into a state of relaxation and stillness. And as you are focusing on your field and repairing those final tears and openings, beginning to look at your field in absolute tact, It is completely whole above you, below you, to the front, to the side, to the back. Completely whole, completely solid, made out of something impenetrable, whatever feels real to you. And you're going to begin to feel more calm. You're going to drop easier into that stillness. You're also going to be able to breathe a little deeper. We're going to go deeper. Go ahead and visualize shrinking the root chakra down to the size of a dime. Sacral chakra down to the size of a dime. Solar plexus down to the size of a dime. Expanding your heart chakra, front and back. Expanding your throat chakra, front and back. Expanding your third eye, front and back. Go up into your crown, expanding the seventh and the eighth. Go ahead and fill it with your creative color into the area of career, abundance, family, relationships, health, creativity, sexual energy, money, your purpose, your family and friends, and your healing, your spiritual healing. Go ahead and activate your crown as you expand it all around you. Remember, it is a sphere. Go up into your eighth. This is a relationship with Source. Fill it in with your creative color, expanding it. Setting the intention that you are in alignment with your highest purpose. Purpose of your incarnation, the purpose of your journey here. I want you to visualize now a powerful wave of green earth energy rushing up into the body through the feet, up the shins, the calves, the thighs, into the solar plexus. And as it rotates, visualizing the rotation of that frequency at the central core, creating a vortex. Notice if that vortex moves fluidly or does it stagnate in certain parts of your body. Gently push through, opening up the space to allow that vortex to spin in your solar plexus. From source, go ahead and bring down a powerful wave of cosmic energy coming down to the crown of your head, combining with the earth energy at your solar plexus. You combine green and gold. Go ahead and take 10% of that combination back down to the center of the earth. Go ahead and take 80% of that green and gold up your spine and from the crown of your head, creating a fountain coating the outside of your sphere, clearing your relationship with the matrix. Go ahead and take that final 10% and bring it inside the body as it absorbs up your spine, down from your neck, into the body, into the pores, into the flesh, into the muscles, the bones, down to the cellular level. Go ahead and scan your sphere around you, your multidimensional body, and begin to notice and find blockages, pictures, cords. You're going to shine your crown light on top of them and dissolve them, clearing your energetic body. You can use your imagination as much as you need. This is what imagination is for. The intentional use of imagination for your healing is actually one of the powerful gifts that the human has. So as you shine your crown light on top of these blockages, you can explode them, you can blow them up, you can burn them, dilute them, you can turn them to gas, you can turn them to sand, you can vacuum them, whatever feels real to you. Remember that you have two channels of elimination, one down to the center of the earth and the other out to the crown of your head. So you are moving energy, creating rivers of energy through your body right now that create pathways of exit for low density frequency. So every blockage that you see, allow yourself to clear it out without fear, without resistance. One by one, removing those blockages using your crown. Don't doubt yourself. Don't second guess yourself. If you feel or sense something in a place, remove it. As you cut cords, you're going to start cutting it on their end and then on your end. And you're going to turn those cords and reconnect them to source. Both ends are connected to source. You're going to inhale deeply, taking back your life force. As your energy returns back to you like golden light, you're going to exhale anything that you took on unconsciously, releasing what does not serve you. You can cut cords with family, friends, partners, colleagues, everyone that you've been interacting with, anyone that you feel you might have imbalanced exchanges with. The purpose of cutting cords is to reset the energy that we are exchanging with a person, place, or thing. So the more you clear, the more you open space for new creation and new opportunities. Visualize clearing all 13 layers of your bubble, of your field. Once again, you can clear them down to the center of the earth or let them evacuate up towards the top. Everything is being transmuted into love out of your body that no longer serves you. And the more you release, the more you are able to embody love. Sometimes images might feel difficult to eliminate. Take your time, eliminate as much as you can till it's completely gone. And tomorrow you will try again and again until it's completely gone. Go ahead and visualize that you have your karmic contracts all in one big giant room. It can be the size of a stadium. Go ahead and shine your crown light and eliminate all of those contracts. Go to visualize a pile of sticks that represent the cords and the agreements to these contracts, and just split them in two, break them in half. Go ahead and visualize a color that represents unconditional love and healing for you. Harmony, love, peace. What color is that for you? Go ahead and visualize that you're going to absorb that from the center of the earth up into your body, through your shins, your calves, your legs, your thighs, your hips, into the solar plexus, combining with the cosmic energy. I want you to fill your field with the feeling of love. Fill your body with acceptance, peace, gratitude, forgiveness, compassion. And in your mind, you're going to repeat to yourself, I am love, I am lovable, and I am loved. I am worthy. I am harmonious. I am peaceful. I am complete. I am whole. I am conscious. I accept myself. I love myself. I accept myself. And as you inhale deeply, go ahead and focus on the root chakra. Open that root chakra back up. Go to the sacral, open the sacral back up. The solar, open the solar plexus back up. Closing the heart just a little tiny bit. Closing the throat a little bit. Closing the third eye just a little bit. Still maintaining it fully operational and larger than the bottom chakras. This is where you will see the world, and this is where you will create a filter of perception that is in alignment with your higher self. Go ahead and see your 7th and your 8th illuminated with your crown color going up into the 9th, activating the 9th, activating the 10th, the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th. And above you is a powerful white light of source. Bring that source light into your body as a pillar of light down to the center of the earth. Very good. As you allow yourself to come back into the room, I want to welcome you back. I want to thank you so much for joining me today for Self-Love Sunday. And we will continue to host Self-Love Sundays every Sunday. You can join us in the chat on YouTube, or you can join us here in the Zoom room. All these beautiful people, thank you so much for joining us. It was such an honor to have you. And if you guys have questions, once again, go ahead and put them in capital letters. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your super chats. They really mean a lot to me. You guys are amazing. Your support keeps me going and keeping these videos free and information open. So I'm grateful for that. All my love, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone. Love you. Thank you.